plan was that I was going to be a lawyer. I was kind of in agreement with my parents, if I can be really honest. They said, like, we're fine with you pursuing this as long as you have something to fall back on. I was stuck in a loop. I wasn't doing so well around COVID. I was depressed. I was drinking too much for my own good. And I decided to change everything. I have to take responsibility for my behavior.
I've heard rumors that you're able to DJ for 8 hours without using the bathroom.
That's not healthy. Don't try it at home.
What is going on? You are listening to Bobby on BPM, straight from the Sirius XM Miami studio. It is Miami Music Week. Some people call this the Olympics for dance music. I like to call it that myself. Ultra Miami is coming up this weekend, and right now I'm sitting next to one of my favorites, honestly, Armin van Buuren.
What's up?
What's going on, man? How is everything?
Good. Yeah, I'm going to chill Miami. Normally I would fly in on Thursday and quickly get everything out, but now I had shows in the U.S. I played Sunday Silo at Dallas, was amazing. So we just flew here and we're just chilling. Actually, I had some beach time. So
that's nice.
That's very rare during Music Week.
I know you had some beach time, and then you just came here from John Summit Space Set?
Yeah, that was wild. It was kind of an unexpected thing. I just showed up. You know, we've known each other for a long time, and I love his music. He's a great dude. And I asked him to play with me in Poland this June. I'm doing a State of Trance event there in the Warsaw Stadium. And I have this concept called Face to Face, which is different than back to back. It's kind of similar, but you have, instead of playing on two decks each and one mixer, you have a DJ set each. That makes it a little bit more challenging. And I've done it before with Funk Tribu, with Lily Palmer, with Oliver Heldens, with Maddox. And, it was my dream to do it with somebody like John. And he said, yes, he wanted to do it in Poland. So he said to me in the booth that he was quite nervous because it's definitely different than back to back. But I'm excited for it. And I just wanted to show, what's up to experts only. And, we played some tracks back to back, quite unexpected. And that was nice.
Wow, that's awesome. So are you getting John into like producing trance music potentially, or playing?
Well, we've had some conversations about that. His music definitely has elements of trance. I wouldn't call it trance per se, like 100%, but he definitely has that euphoria feeling, and he's also an amazing producer and songwriter. So and I'm playing his music in my sets as well. So there's definitely common ground there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to rewind time a little bit and take you back for a second because I heard this. I want to know if it's true. Is it true that you started producing because your mom won a computer in like some contest?
Yeah.
Is that legit?
There was this company called New Brain. And we're talking about 1986, 87. And my mom was a journalist, and she went to we lived in a really small village, but that company was based there. And they had a lottery, like at the reveal of the company, and they were giving away a few computers. And my mom won the lottery, and she said, well, I don't know anything about computers. I remember she came up to my bedroom, woke me up, and said, I won a computer. But this is like pre like Windows, pre whatever, this is like basic. So I taught how to program in the basic language, computer language.
Yeah.
And that was actually in hindsight that was the start of everything, because I've always been a mix of a little bit of nerdy kind of stuff.
Sure. Like
computers and technology has always been something that I've been really fascinated about. And the other hand, music. So I guess it's no surprise that I ended up here.
No, absolutely not. That's an amazing story. And then when you started to get into it, like what made you decide to do trance music?
I guess my dad was very instrumental in that. My dad used to listen to a lot of early synthesizer music. I guess now you would call it trance in hindsight, but I guess in the 70s you had this sound produced mainly by people like Vangelis, Klaus Schulze, Jean-Michel Jarre. I think he's the most well-known. And they were releasing like these albums with a lot of synthesizers, and at the time that was revolutionary because the synthesizer was not considered a serious instrument. And the 60s. It wasn't until the Beatles started using the Moog synthesizer on the White Album that the use of electronic instruments was actually more embraced. Before 1966, it was regarded as it wasn't a real instrument. A synthesizer is not a real instrument.
Yeah.
And I always find that fascinating. And then my dad used to listen to this quite obscure instrumental music. And as a kid, I grew up and I just heard him play those albums. And I guess I was, brainwashed by that. And I guess right now that you call that music trance in the current day and age, but at the time it was just synthesizer music.
Yeah. I think I've heard you say this in an interview before, and I've actually done a take on it before. Do you think melodic techno is trance?
I don't want to get caught in the trap of saying what is what. I mean, I'm completely cool with every genre you put.
Yeah.
Every name. I guess, some people who want to be negative, they always say like, a state of trance or melodic techno is just a way of avoiding saying trance. And I get that because trance has been a bit of a dirty word.
Yeah.
In a way, it was for a long time, it was considered like maybe part of EDM or whatever of that culture. But that has flipped. I mean, calling yourself trance now is cool again, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
I guess melodic techno is a sort of mix between techno and like slower trance. So I understand that there's a new genre for it. But if you look on Beatport, for example, you see a new genre popping up almost every week. And that's great. That's great. I really don't want to bash on that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think people can call my music trance. They can call it melodic techno. They can call it techno, whatever they want to call it. It doesn't really matter. To me, it's all about what feeling it evokes. And in my sets, I don't look at, I'm just going to play from the main stage trance sound or the raw, deep trance, whatever. I'm going to play something that fits my sound, my genre. And if you really have to put a label on my head, I'd say put trance on there.
Yeah.
And I'm not bashing on people who call it melodic techno.
No, for sure. I just know it's been like a discrepancy on the internet because melodic techno started to really blow up in the last like 2 or 3 years. Anima started putting it on, all that stuff. And I feel like a lot of big artists started emerging from that. So there's been like a debate about that. But I'm happy to hear from your perspective.
Oh, yeah, but I'm not negative in any sense.
No. I wasn't even coming at it from that standpoint either.
I understand your question, though. It's a little bit confusing sometimes because
Yeah.
sometimes I upload a track and I'm convinced it's trance, and then they put it in the main stage section. And sometimes I'm convinced it's melodic techno, and then they put it in the trance section. But it's whatever, as long as people can find it.
Yeah, absolutely. So did you go back to get your law degree in the early 2000s as your DJ career was like obviously big?
Yeah, that's true. Oh, wow, you did your research.
Of course.
Well done.
And how did you pull that off while being an artist?
That was hard work. I started my law degree in 95 when I finished school, and I took this job as a DJ, as a side hustle, in a local bar where I was a student. And I made tracks, and one of the tracks actually got really big in 99, a track called Communication. And I was in my 3rd year of my law degree, because I also did computer science on the side a little bit. Didn't finish that. It was kind of an agreement with my parents, if I can be really honest. I guess my parents weren't the biggest fans of the boom boom music. And they said, like, we're fine with you pursuing this as long as you have something to fall back on. And in all honesty, I'm very grateful that they did that because it never gave me the pressure of having to earn like my rent, to pay rent from a DJ perspective. So, because I always knew, like, I have my law degree to fall back on. The plan was, in all seriousness, that I was going to be a lawyer. I actually worked in a law firm for a while.
So that would be the career if you weren't an artist.
Exactly. And at the time, you weren't really able to make a proper living out of DJing and producing. That only came later. So I told my parents, like, look, I'm going to finish my law degree. I know this is what you guys want. It's not my favorite thing, although I finished I specialized in copyright law. I wrote a paper about de Buma Stemra, which is our collecting society in the Netherlands. And so that was very interesting because I learned a lot about copyrights and the internet was just coming up.
That's a good thing to know.
Yeah. So actually, in hindsight, it wasn't a bad move at all. But I really didn't like going to university and studying. That's why it took me 7 years to finish the degree. But I ended up finishing my law degree in December of 2002. I remember doing a gig in Denmark, flying back and being picked up by my grandparents from the airport and getting my law degree that same day. And I was completely tired because I didn't sleep from the gig. And it was fun. And I'm glad I finished it because, in all honesty, maybe I wouldn't have been a trance DJ if I wouldn't have had the law degree because trance at the time wasn't the most popular sound.
Yeah.
And I just felt free to pursue that because I was like, if I'm going to be a DJ, I want to play my own sound. I want to play that.
Yeah.
And then in 99, 2000, that skyrocketed. And I was already DJing in the UK at Cream when I was still studying. It was quite crazy.
It's insane. What do you think was part of the reason behind trance music getting so big, like originally back then?
It was definitely a UK thing. Absolutely. Mr. Ferry Corsten, we all know, had a project called System F, and he did a few tracks that blew up in the UK. That's kind of the Dutch sound. Now, I also want to say, like, the Dutch didn't invent trance. A lot of people think.
Yeah.
We took credit for it.
Well, because Tiesto was making trance back then.
Well, he still making
is,
trance,
yeah.
But I think the Belgians and the Germans invented it. Like, Jam and Spoon, Bonsai Records, UK. And we were just, the handy guys making it more popular. And Ferry's sound really popped over to the UK. And I got to warm up for Ferry Corsten. That's how it started.
Wow.
So I got to play in the UK, and I was part of that. You know, they call it the golden age of trance, 99 to 2001, because a lot of the music that was produced in that era still considered classic. And I was there. I was DJing in the UK, every single club. And you have to imagine the dance music world was nothing like it is now. You know, now you hear it here on Sirius XM, you hear it played everywhere. There's a channel dedicated to it, which I love.
Yep.
But at the time, it was very niche. It was very, like, the biggest thing you could sell was a club of 600 people, and then you did well.
Wow.
And you got paid like £800 or £1,000. You had to pay your flight, your hotel, and everything. So it wasn't a really lucrative thing. But what you did feel was like, I remember those days in the UK, the crowds. I played at places like Slinky in Bournemouth and Stoke-on-Trent and places like Cream. And Gatecrasher, of course, the legendary club in Sheffield. And something was boiling, and we all felt it. But it wasn't, nobody knew that it was going to blow up 10 years later like it is now.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And shout out to you for being a part of that movement as well, man. Been a big fan for a long time.
Thank you.
So you were recently on the cover of Men's Health magazine, right? What made you start taking your health so seriously?
I had a bit of a bad time. I shared this before on interviews as well. Yeah, I wasn't doing so well around COVID.
Sure.
I was depressed. I was drinking too much for my own good, and I didn't feel well. And I decided to change everything. And I realized that, you know, I'm a father of two. I'm married, and I have to take responsibility for my behavior.
Yeah.
And I was kind of, you know, I was stuck in a loop. I felt like I was doing too many shows. I was doing it for the money, not for the passion anymore. And I kind of lost myself a little bit. So I quit drinking on Friday the 13th of March, 2020, 6 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it was the hardest thing I've ever done. I never thought I could quit alcohol. It wasn't a massive problem. I mean, you've never seen me drunk behind the decks or anything. But it was just, I was fed up with it.
Yeah.
And once that year was over and I started to see the benefits of not drinking, not doing drugs, just being clean and sober, I felt so great. I got so much energy. And then I got approached to do the Men's Health cover, and I said, no, that's not me. That's not me. I mean, I don't see myself on the cover of Men's Health magazine. But I was intrigued about the question because I got this trainer who was going to train me if I said yes. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to pay for the shoot myself, so I have a get-out-of-jail-free card. If I don't like the photos, I can say, no, I don't want to be on the cover. So I went into that routine, and I learned so much about what is actually healthy food, and that was the whole plan. Of course, I'm a bit vain, you know, for being on the cover. I'm not going to lie.
Nah, man, you got to own it.
I'm proud of that, but the idea behind it was, I mean, you walk into the supermarket, right? And we all know that an apple is more healthy than a hamburger. We all know that. But what is actually healthy food? And there's so many choices. Like, I don't even know anymore. So my trainer actually made a schedule. He looked at my macros. He put me on 6 meals a day. It's insane. 6. I started eating way more. And I'm like, something's wrong here. And the first month, nothing happened. You know, we think that if we eat less, you lose weight, when that's the wrong way of thinking. He showed me stuff like that. I used to work out with a personal trainer 1 hour a week, came home sweaty, took a shower, put the shirt back in the washing machine. When I started training with him, I never sweat anymore. I could put my shirt back in the cupboard.
That's crazy.
Because he said, you're training the wrong way. And he taught me so much about food, about how important sleep is. He made me sleep more. He said, you can't be on the Men's Health cover if you sleep less than 8 hours a day. I was like, sleep? I thought you had to be in the gym like 5 hours a day, you know? And I got it all wrong. I think
a lot of people do with that.
And so he really helped me. And the first month was super frustrating because I had to prepare all these meals. And I'm not a big egg fan. You had to eat a lot of eggs and chicken, and that's not my favorite. But I had to learn, and I went through that. And after a month, all of a sudden, my weight went boom. And I started seeing my body change. And honestly, the real reason for still being on this diet, because I still have the 6-pack, it's because I get the energy. And I'm so much more creative. I have less dark thoughts. I'm less depressed. I'm a happier person.
Yeah.
I embrace life more, and I'm more there for my family. So when I come home from Miami, for example, I want to be there for my kids. And normally I would just be hungover from everything.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man.
Sorry for the long answer.
I love it. It's super intriguing. Do you maybe credit this to your health too? I've heard rumors that you're able to DJ for 8 hours without using the bathroom.
That's not healthy. Don't try it at home. It's definitely not healthy. Actually, my doctor, my GP, said that don't do that too often because you can actually hurt your kidneys.
Okay.
It's a bad idea.
Don't not go to the bathroom for 8 hours.
Don't do that. Going to the bathroom is probably one of the healthiest things you can do.
All right, my last question for you right now. What would you say right now are your 5 favorite songs to play in your set?
For my own?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't wait to play my new track at Ultra this Saturday. I'm going to premiere something that's personally very, very, actually touched upon the story we just talked about. I can't wait to play that. I'm so excited about it. I just saw because we're still working on the visuals and stuff.
Yeah.
Just saw the final render of the show. Oh my God, it's so good. I'm so happy with that. So I can't wait to share that. We've got a new track coming. It's called She a Freak.
Okay.
That I just played with John Summit. That's crazy. My new single, Lost in Time.
Nice.
I get so much love from the fans. And I have to mention Always You, the track that was the anthem for State of Trance 25-year celebration in Ahoy. Mm-hmm. I'm going to throw that on the main stage as well. It's like, it's a pure trance anthem, but the fans absolutely love it.
Nice.
And yeah, there's quite a few tunes, like classic tunes that still work. I'm really, really proud of my track with Sasha called Set Me Free.
Yeah.
She's actually here in Miami with me, and she's amazing. I love Sasha, and she's been on tour with me for almost a year now, and we've become close friends, so that's been amazing. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Amazing. Well, listen, man, we appreciate you coming on
Thank
now,
you.
by the way. I'm going to close this out for a second. Thank you, Armin van Buuren. You're a straight-up legend, man. Much love to you.
Thanks
love
so much.
what you create and put out there. You are listening to Bobby on BPM, straight from the SiriusXM Miami studio. This is Armin van Buuren. Love you guys. Peace.